Have you been wanting to see a movie that has the right amount of humor and emotion, that delivers a high-stakes plot in a humble way? Well, then you should go see Project Hail Mary. What's up guys, my name's Hayden Murphy, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the movie Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling and directed by directors Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Now, I've got to say, I just came from seeing this movie, and it's fantastic. It's really, really good. Now, I have to say, I have read the book, because this movie is adapted off of the book by Andy Weir of the same name, and I really liked the book, and it got my excitement up for this movie even more. And this movie delivered on just about everything that the book did. That being said, the book is in a genre called hard sci-fi, where it just really dives deep into the science of the science fiction. So if you've seen the movie The Martian, that movie is also based off of a book by the same author, and you can tell by that movie that it is very deep into science. While there is still science prevalent in this movie, it's not as front and center as it was in the book Project Hail Mary, or even in the movie as The Martian. The heartbeat of this movie is between Ryland Grace and his alien companion, Rocky. That is what the primary focus of this story is on. And it took me a little bit to recognize that, because I was expecting there to be high science moments and all this. And while there is still some of that, it's not as focused on or explained. And that's one of my criticisms of the movie, is that particularly in the beginning part of the movie, I don't think they did a good enough job explaining the predicament they were in via the science. The reason why the sun is dying per se. And they do mention it, they go into it, but not saying that people can't comprehend or follow it. But I think sometimes it's good for a movie to reiterate a point 2 or 3 times maybe, just to make sure that everyone is on board with what's going on. Because some people might get maybe left behind because they're just like, what are we doing out here again? Why is the sun dying? What's going on?
I'm extremely confused.
When I realized that this movie was not going to be as science-y as the book, it allowed me to just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. And there's a whole lot to enjoy in this movie. Number one, let me just say from right off the bat, the cinematography in this movie is beautiful. I loved the direction that Lord and Miller used, particularly with several camera shots and angles. They use this particular trick with turning the camera ever so slightly that is not necessarily new to quote-unquote outer space films, but it's in the way and the process that they used it and the timing of how they used it that really just put a nice little touch on the scene. It was really great. And the visuals in this movie are top-notch. I mean, some of these shots are just very stunning to just see. When you're in outer space and you're seeing the planets or the stars or some of those things, they're just really breathtaking to take in. The biggest sign that you can tell this is a Lord and Miller movie is the humor. And it's not over the top. It is the perfect balance in this movie between humor and emotion.
Perfectly balanced, this whole thing should be.
They really did a good job using humor in this film. It was done in the right way, with the right time. It wasn't over the top, but it was just enough humor to keep you engaged and enjoying yourself during this movie. That was one of the pros of the book, too, was the humor. But in this movie, they elevate the humor even more, to the point where I enjoy the humor of this movie more than I did the book. And they perfectly balance off that humor with the right amount of emotional moments. Now, this movie is not like Schindler's List. You're not going to be crying your eyes out the whole time.
Am I crying? No, I'm not crying. You're crying.
But there are some emotional moments that might get you a little teary-eyed and really just makes you feel for these characters. And Ryan Gosling was perfectly cast in this role. Now, I gotta say, I'm not the biggest Ryan Gosling fan. I've not been particularly fond of him as an actor Now, don't get me wrong, I think he's still good, he's a great actor, but there's never been that role that's been like, oh, I am a Ryan Gosling fan. This is that role. When I read this book, I fell in love with Ryland Grace as a character because he's this nerdy, sciencey, high school, middle school teacher, and Ryan Gosling, you'd think, would not be able to fit that because, oh, he's just this good-looking guy, right? No, he was perfectly cast in this role. It reminds me of another outer space-centered movie that he was the lead star in called First Man, and I gotta admit, I wasn't that impressed with the movie, particularly because his character was just void of any emotion. And it was a negative response to the film because of that. And this is the opposite of that. He is doing such an elegant job performing these emotional moments essentially by himself, acting off of a rock puppet.
I'm not a puppet.
He is just a down-to-earth guy. Even though he's challenging larger-than-life problems, he's just a normal dude. Yes, he might know way more science than us, but he is normal in how he handles himself. I'm a little iffy on the character Strat and how that character was portrayed in this movie versus the book. In the book, the character is portrayed as just, they have no limitations. They are able to do anything and everything that is required to make sure this project goes off without a hitch. And while that's still somewhat there in this movie, it's not done on the same level quite like the book did. And I feel like it was a little bit lacking in terms of what that character did. They tried to make that character a little more human than what the book particularly did. And I wish that they would have shown the character be a little more cold in prior moments in the movie. But Rocky is amaze. He was so good in this movie for how they portrayed him using a puppet. Now, there's some CGI shots, I can tell, but the emotion that they were able to tie in and the humor with this rock alien creature was so good. I can't wait to get toys of Rocky, and he is going to be a pop culture phenomenon. And the casting director should already get their Oscar nomination now because they perfectly cast Rocky. I mean, where can you possibly find the right rock alien creature to fill this role?
Is that a joke?
And my most favorite thing about this movie was not the things I just listed, but the music.
Can you hear the music?
As I was driving home, I tried looking up on Spotify the soundtrack, and it hadn't even released yet. But I can tell you what I'm going to be doing all day tomorrow is listening to that soundtrack on loop. It's that good. It fits the mood and the atmosphere perfectly.
It was perfect. Perfect.
I would highly recommend you go and watch this movie in theaters. Don't wait for this to come out on streaming. This movie deserves to be seen on the big screen, and it will definitely be more memorable that way and more enjoyable too. This is a movie I would recommend you could take the whole family to. Little kids as young as 8 years old, I think, would have a great time with this. There might have to be a little bit of a chair lean where you have to explain some of the scenes like, hey, so this means that. You got it? And then they'll be on board and it'll be totally fine. But I think it would be perfectly okay for anyone around age 8 and up. People of all ages can enjoy this movie. There's no content issues in terms of bad language or any kind of nudity or anything like that. So it's really, really well done by Lord and Miller. I look forward to seeing them do more live action things in this vein because they can really lighten up some of even the most serious subject matters with the great amount of humor and emotion that they were able to do. So that's my review for Project Hail Mary. I really enjoyed myself. It was a great time at the movie theaters. I plan on seeing it at least maybe one more time. But I want to know what you guys thought. Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you're new here, I would really appreciate it if you like this video, share it with some of your friends, subscribe too. That would be greatly helpful. If you want to see my review on the book Project Hail Mary, click on the link at the end of the video. Also, I've reviewed the book Dungeon Crawler Carl. But other than that, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I'll catch you on the flip side.